So from a driver's perspective, when you're sitting, you've got the instrument display a little bit further forward than you would have in a traditional vehicle. It kind of means you don't need a heads-up display because it is quite far back, but it does take a while to get used to because the very first 4 or 5 hours in experiencing this car, I was leaning forward like this because I'm so used to being a certain distance from the gauge cluster, whereas when you're sitting back, you're actually going to find out, actually, it's meant to be like that, quite far back, and you can sit and see it. The only kind of discrepancy with this and little negative on this is it depends how you have the steering wheel adjusted, is the fact that you can't really see all the cluster all the time, so sometimes it might cut off the speed or the bottom that says the range there. It's a little bit annoying just because I quite like to be able to see a cluster, but I know some modern vehicles suffer from that kind of oddball design feature. So I guess you're going to wonder, what does this Toyota bZ4X compete with? And unfortunately competes with cars that I haven't driven yet, so I'm going to go with things like the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, just because of the space of that vehicle. To an extent, probably because I'm pricing Tesla Model Y that I have driven, that's a little bit more tech-fest, which you can appreciate minimalist interior. This has got buttons, which I quite like the ability to have that. ID4, potentially maybe ID5 with the sloping back, Audi Q4 depending on spec of this. There's quite a few on the market, Mustang Mach-E, this being front wheel drive based, it's, you know, it's going to be quite competitive. I think storage space wise it's great, and do you know what I like about it is people you can jump in. If you're jumping out of like a RAV4 for example and getting this, it's not a very difficult learning curve. You know, I'm sitting in front of a BMW iX in front of me, and if you jump out of a X5, say a 2019 X5 into 2023 iX, it's going to be quite a different experience and curve, whereas this, apart from feeling electric all the time, most RAV4s were hybrids and people got used to that kind of semi-electrification, so it's probably not going to be the next biggest step for them. And you know where buttons are, you know what they do, it's quite familiar, and some buyers like that. You know, if you're wanting the latest and greatest with LED light strips everywhere and, you know, autonomous driving that maybe the Tesla would offer, you're going to have to look at those brands. But you know what, for a nice everyday family vehicle that says what it does in the tin, it's great. And Toyota offer up to a 10-year warranty, stroke up to 100,000 miles with this car, so you've got that little peace of mind. And I remember reading somewhere that the batteries have been designed to hold, I think, 90% of the charge after 10 years, so hopefully longevity is going to be in the side of this bZ4X. And I said the real range, mid-250s, is better, more palatable than, say, for example, the sub 200 that I've seen in the RZ. I've just pulled into the supermarket and it's mobbed. But anyway, without further ado, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video on the Toyota bZ4X. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Tom's Garage below, and I'll see you next video. Thanks for watching. Ciao.